in a weird way. So it says preparing to live stream the webinar. So hopefully that'll work. We won't talk about nails since I had to take mine off.
I've been trying to let mine grow out, but the gray and oh my goodness, we're all gonna be a sight after this.
Exactly. Okay, there we go. I think we're gone live on YouTube and we're going to go to Facebook.
I had to take mine off.
Oh, I can hear a back talk. Can you? But the gray and oh my goodness, we're all gonna be a sight after this. I can hear.
Okay, there we go. I think
It's going to be a stream
live on YouTube and we're going to go to Facebook.
Let's see if I can get it on Facebook. I think we're live now.
I can hear. Yeah, Krista, I'm here in the back feed.
Yeah, I'm going to shift it over now.
Okay.
We're all going to be a sight after this.
Yeah. So let's see if we're live. So hopefully we are. Here we go. How to rock a look,
Okay.
which is awesome. So bear with us, everyone. It's always, there we go. Okay. I think we're, okay. I think we are good.
So hopefully we are. Here we go.
I'm going to shut this down and then we can have a chat. So I think we're actually live. We had to go in a very roundabout way to get onto Facebook, unfortunately. So thanks for sticking with us. We're kind of broadcasting through YouTube on the Facebook because we're having some challenges, unfortunately, with Facebook today. So this is an exciting one because like all of us, I think we've been stuck in a house for a while, and the whole theme of the last couple of weeks have been how to take this time to take care of yourself and how to actually, use the time in a positive way and come out of it, learning something new. And I think for a lot of us, including myself, we probably started wearing makeup when we were 12 or 13 years old. And for most of us, it was probably late 80s, early 90s. So I think it's time to get rid of the whole frosted eyeshadow. I know there's a little bit of it coming back with a vengeance, but just trying to figure out how to embrace our age, how to still look youthful and feel confident about ourselves, because that's really what makeup is about. You don't wear it for someone else, you wear it for yourself. And I couldn't think of anyone else better. I know you're a brave woman to actually come on all the time on your Facebook Lives with a bare face. There's not a lot of us who would be daring enough to do that. And I wanted to introduce you to Shelley Eaton, who's a unique presenter, and you've been doing it for 6+ years. And I watch you all the time, kind of in envy, because what happens is you do it and then I do it and I look like a panda. So it's time to kind of stop rocking the 80s and kind of come into learning how to do a great neutral kind of palette and feel confident. And I'm so excited to have you here today to kind of talk us through everything from skincare to all the fun stuff that you kind of got in store. So tell us a little bit. Well, first of all, how do you even get into the unique company and learning to present?
So it basically just started with the mascara. I was one of those people 6 years ago that had a little makeup bag that had 5 go-to products, the same 5 products that I had been using since I was 16 years old. So I wasn't a big makeup lover. I wasn't a big makeup user, but I wanted this amazing mascara that I had seen all over Facebook. And I kind of thought, well, I could probably use some more products. So why don't I just get this kit? It's this best value, get the mascara, get some new eyeshadows. And when I got it and I tried the mascara, I loved it. And then I just started sharing it with my friends and they all wanted it. I'm like, maybe I could do something with this and make it into a little business for myself. And once I started learning more about the company and what the company stands for, which their mission is to uplift, empower, and validate women, I could get behind that. And then it just kind of started growing from there. So my little makeup bag turned into a desk of makeup, and I just love it. And I'd say probably the thing that I love about it the most is just sharing the knowledge that I've built with other like-minded women and helping them just feel a little bit more beautiful and a little bit more confident. And it doesn't have to be complicated. There's no rules. You just need to have fun with it, but learning some of the basics and kind of growing and evolving with your routine as you get older, because I'm 6 years older than I was when I started. So my skin has even changed that much more. is really kind of the reason that I keep doing it. So, yeah.
Well, this is it. I think this is we had a great conversation the other night actually talking about it. And I can remember like when I was in my, when you're young, you just go and you buy the store, you go to the, to Lots or Shoppers, and you just kind of pick random stuff off and you half guess your colors, and you're like half the time it doesn't match, or you're trying to blend it. You have no clue. But I remember like in my late 30s, I remember going to the Clinique counter because I use Clinique a fair bit. And I remember going to her and she said, well, how old are you? And I'm like, I'm 38. She said, well, come back when you're 40 because we're going to have to do a whole new regime for you. And you're like, whatever. And I swear to God, like 40 plus the next day, my skin completely changed from like this oily combination mess to completely dry. So then you're like, oh my God, like, how do I deal with this? And like, say you get in these blotches and you're like, I don't know what to do. So even going from being able to get away with like a little bit of powder and a mascara when you're younger, now it's like, I remember mom saying like, why do you wear so much makeup when you're in your 20s? Because eventually you're going to need to wear it to feel natural, neutral.
Yes.
And now I'm starting to see it that I like, you wouldn't dare go out in public now with no makeup because the fear of all of, all that stuff kind of showing itself. So
Yeah.
I guess, yeah. So I guess the first question is, I guess, first and foremost, like we had the conversation before, skincare is probably numero uno. It's the number one. Not taking care of your skin is one of those things that I guess is the first concern that most people have is, am I using the right stuff? Am I stripping myself of all my oils, or am I putting stuff on that's too perfumey, like whatever? Because I've had stuff where I've gone and bought kind of some higher end brands and I've broken out. And I have no idea what it was that I was reacting to. So you're always nervous to go spend a lot of money on stuff and be like, oh my God, did I just waste, $60 on a little crock of something and have my face completely blow up?
Yeah.
So maybe you can kind of talk us through some skincare tips to begin with.
Absolutely. Like skincare, and I kind of always come back to this saying that your makeup is only going to look as good as your skin is underneath. So if you have problem skin, your makeup, it doesn't matter how much you spend on your makeup, it doesn't matter how many products you purchase, it's not going to look good. If you've got dry, flaking skin, if you've got lots of oils, if you have lots of crepiness, it's really not going to look good. So above and beyond everything, skincare is definitely an investment, and it's an important one. And especially when you're reaching your late 30s, and especially over 40 and over 50, as your skin is continuing to change or your hormones change, that same moisturizer or cleanser that you used when you were 20 years old, just to slap on a bit of moisturizer, or you washed your face with Noxzema, it's not going to do what it needs to do. So that's the biggest lesson that I think I've learned over the last few years, is finding those products that work for you. And some people get really nervous to try a new product because they've found a product where their skin doesn't break out. And that's the biggest concern that I hear from a lot of people is, but I've been using this for so long and my skin doesn't break out and I'm afraid to change to something else. Lots of times if your skin ends up breaking out with a change in a routine, it's actually because some of these toxins are beginning to release from your skin, and it may only be a short-lived period of time. Might be a week, might be 2 weeks, while your skin is actually from within cleansing itself out of the toxins. And then you're going to find that a balance is going to start to develop. So what I tell people is, don't be afraid if you get a little breakout right away. But just kind of stick with it a little bit. Obviously, if you have a reaction, that's different. But if you start seeing a pimple pop up here and there, that doesn't necessarily mean that what you're transitioning into is not meant for your skin. It means your skin is starting to get rid of those things that it needs to get rid of. It's detoxifying. So one thing that I love about the Younique skincare line, and it's actually a relatively new line, it's changed a few times since I started, is it's a custom skincare. So what that means is we've got like 40,000 combinations, which sounds super, super intimidating. But Younique has made it so easy because they've developed an online quiz. It's a skincare quiz. So Krista, if you wanted to see what your skin type was like and what your skin type needs specifically for you, I can guarantee you it's completely different than what my skin needs or what your daughter needs or what your sister needs. Based on are you in front of a screen a lot? Do you need some environmental shield? Do you have some combination oily? Do you have some pores that are large? Do you have dry skin? So basically it's a 10-question quiz that you go through the questions, you answer the questions online, and then you get this little write-up of exactly what your skin needs and the products that are recommended for you. So right off the bat, it takes a lot of that guesswork out, because sometimes it can be very intimidating to go into a drugstore and look at all the skincare and go, well, I don't know, I might have combination skin, I might have some dryness, I might have some oiliness, I really need something for fine lines. What do I need for my own skin? So the basics that I would recommend that every single person have is a really good daytime moisturizer and a really good nighttime moisturizer. And do you know what the difference is between the two? Because I get said all the time, I get asked all the time, what's the difference? I just have one.
Well, I know, well, daytime is usually more of a lighter kind of, you don't want to feel thick, but I said generally nighttime is like a little bit of a heavier kind of cream. And that's been the one I've always been nervous about doing, because my skin for a long time was always like a sensitive skin. And so I'd be like, oh my God, if I put the Pond's cold cream on or whatever, like I'm going to wake up the next day and just be like nothing but acne because I've clogged every pore that I've had in my head. So yeah, that's that would actually be a really good tip to start with.
Yeah, there's definitely a difference between the day and the night. Day is usually to add some hydration to your skin after you've woken up, after you've gotten out of the shower, because when you cleanse your skin, you're stripping it of all of its natural oils. And really, if you strip of natural oils, your skin is going to produce more oils. And that's kind of that never-ending cycle that I hear from people. I don't want to put on moisture because I already have oily skin and it's just going to clog and I'm going to break out. But that's a misconception. If you don't add the moisture back, then your skin has to try to overcompensate and produces more oils. And then it's just this never-ending cycle of you're trying to get rid of the oil, but it's producing more oils, leading to breakouts and things like that. So for daytime, it needs to be lightweight, something that can go underneath your makeup where your makeup's not going to look cakey. If it's too heavy and you try to put makeup on over the top, there's going to be like that barrier there, and it's going to look cakey. So it has to be lightweight. And then nighttime is so key, because when you're sleeping, that's when everything is rejuvenating and healing. And, that's when your skin, it really has a time to absorb all of the nutrients that are in your skincare so that, it's just overall hydrated. And so there's all these different kinds of boosters that get added into our skincare line, which are for wrinkles, rejuvenating, time correcting, pores, all these things. And they're different based on day and night. So if you're just using one cream and that's what you use for your day and that's what you use for your night, that would kind of be a first step of where I would change that. They have completely different specific properties in each of them, and they're both really, really, really important. When you get into serums and treatments and masks and cleansers, like you can expand and expand and expand about how far you want your treatment line to go. But the basics are a day and a nighttime moisturizer.
Gotcha. Now, generally, because that's the other thing too, one thing I struggle with is sunscreen, because I find, again, I react really poorly to it. I always tend to break out. So I always struggle with, like I've used other moisturizers, which might have like an SPF 15 or something in it. So does the Younique have a piece where it has some SPF already built in, or do you have sunscreen that you recommend? Like, how would you kind of, getting ready for the day, how would you layer it? So
we have a product called SPF Veil, which is a 30 SPF. And it's called a veil because it's meant to be able to go onto your face and apply makeup on over the top. I'm gonna grab a drink of water. We were just talking about allergies. I've got allergies too, and you've got that tickle.
Yeah.
So the SPF Veil, lots of times SPF products, it's really challenging to put makeup on over the top. It's going to flake off. It's not going to look right. It's going to look more cakey. An SPF veil product is so light and airy that you're getting a protection, but you can still put your makeup on over the top. So we do have that product, which is super important.
Yeah.
SPF is important for everybody, but especially as we age, you know, you see those little brown spots creeping up. Yeah, I've got them too, like right here.
Here and one here that just popped up like overnight, it feels like anyway.
Yeah, and then the more you go out in the sun, the more you see them. So you really want to make sure that you're protected. A lot of our coverage products, they're all mineral makeup. It's all mineral makeup. So a lot of our coverage products actually contain minerals in it that offer a certain level of a natural SPF barrier. So like our BB cream, for example, is just like a lightweight tinted moisturizer. It just evens everything out, but it actually has properties in it that offer a natural SPF of 15, which is really nice. If you're not going to be outside for any more than a little walk, you don't really need anything more than that. You're not out lying in the sun by the beach for hours. It's just nice to have a little bit of protection.
Sure.
So a lot of our mineral products already contain a certain level of SPF.
Nice. I love it. I love the mineral. Like I said, I've been slowly kind of changing, trying to go for more natural products instead of heavy chemical items. So that's awesome. So normally when you're doing it, so you would use the Veil product first, then you would do a daytime moisturizer over that, or does the Veil have like a moisturizer built into it as well?
It doesn't have a moisturizer built into it. It has a hydrating property to it. I do get asked that all the time. What's the order of how you apply things? So if you had an entire line, there's a certain order. The very first thing obviously is cleanse your face. Most people do that when they're in the shower. So you have a cleanser in the shower. Definitely don't use soap. Don't ever use soap to wash your face. It's just going to strip it of all of the natural oils and just cause all kinds of problems, more breakouts, dryness, all that stuff. So you definitely want to just cleanse your face. When you get out of the shower, I really love, and this is an important step for me, but some people skip it. It's not really an anti-aging. It's just kind of a necessary step that I find for balancing and calming my skin is a toning water, a spritzing water. Okay. So we have a few different ones in the line that are they have essential oils all built into them. And what a toning water does is it helps to close those pores back up. So when you're in the shower and you cleanse, you're opening everything up. And then if you just go and put makeup right on top of that, that's how you sometimes end up clogging those pores and end up with breakouts. So I really like, and it just smells really good and it feels really good. I just spritz a toning water all over my face. And then I just kind of let it absorb in and dry a little bit. That's after cleanser. Then if you're going to put on your veil, you put on the SPF protection right on over the top of that and kind of just let it absorb into your skin. It's going to protect your skin. Then you would go with your moisturizer and then you'd continue on with like a primer and then into your makeup line. The primer is considered part of a makeup line, but you want to make sure that, you know, you've got the moisturizer as the very last step before you start going on with your makeup.
With the actual makeup part.
Yep.
Right. Okay. So I learned something new already. Because I was always worried, it's like, well, do I just put this on? Because some of your sunscreens can be really kind of oily, and
exactly.
So then you're like, oh, I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to put another layer. Then I'm going to be sweating on top of that because the sun's going to be beaming on me. So you always wonder, you know, like I said, I generally wasn't an oily skin person, and I was worried about putting too much on my face. So I tend to be the one would probably scrub it to its death in the shower, dry my skin out and probably cause the oily.
That's exactly what happens.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is what happens because we didn't know as much growing up as like our 16-year-olds do now. Because we didn't have Google and all the great tips and tricks. Like I said, you had your Noxzema and Singe.
And like the apricot sand scrub that everybody would use. And you'd scrub.
So no wonder our faces are terrible now and our skin is
exactly.
We didn't know any different. And the oxy pads are just any bit of anything on your face. So God love. Okay, so going down through, so you have your daytime, which is going to be more lighter, going to draw lots of moisture, and then the nighttime. So you come home, I guess you would, you know, clean off all of, you know, all the mess and sweat and dirt and dust and all your.
So important.
Right.
Like the worst thing that you can probably do is, and I'm sure everybody's heard it, but they still, you know, I'm tired, I don't want to wash my face. You have to wash your face. You have to. take off that makeup. You don't sleep in it. It really is going to age you because it's sitting there. It's, you know, you haven't done anything good for your skin before you've gone to bed. So it's so nice to wake up with this hydrated, you know, if your skin is hydrated, your wrinkles are going to appear much less. And everybody wants those, especially around your eyes.
And these here, right here.
Yeah, all of that stuff. If you're hydrated,
Yeah.
then that crepiness and the lines are just going to look like they're more filled out, which is what everybody wants. So at nighttime, you can, if you have a good cleanser, your cleanser will get off most of your makeup. Some people, if you're wearing a lot of makeup, would like to use a makeup remover, then cleanse their skin, because a cleanser and a makeup remover are two completely different things. Completely different things. You're not fully cleansing your skin if you're just taking off your makeup.
That's a great point, because, you know, a lot of us, like I have the Costco wipes, right? I just picked up whatever.
Yeah.
Because my biggest thing is I wear mascara a fair bit. I actually don't have Beyonce, ironically enough, but you take it off and you don't want to kill your face clots and stuff with the black, you know what I mean? So like, but it's a good point. Sometimes, you know, I'll see, like, so my teenager might take it and just be kind of like, just and go to bed, and you're not, all you're doing is just smearing residue from your makeup onto your face. And of course, in puberty and acne and stuff happens. So that's a good one. Yeah. Use your wipes to get rid of the first layer, but then to take it to the next.
And then just really nicely cleanse your skin after. And then, you know, do your toning water, if that's something that you would prefer to do. And then serums are something that they're always a little bit more pricey, but they are really targeted with all these beneficial anti-aging properties. So a serum is something you wouldn't put on in the morning. It would be like this replenishing, rejuvenating thing that would absorb into your skin while you're sleeping. You know, put it around your lips, put it around your eyes, put it all over your face, and it just has all of these properties. So if you had a serum, then it would be take off your makeup, cleanse your face, spritz your face with the toning water to close up those pores, and then a serum, and then a night cream. But at the end of the day, if all you did was wash your face and put on a moisturizer, a nighttime moisturizer, then you're good to go.
I actually got my first serum. I knew I was getting old when I went in, and then they were like, you probably need, because I was like, my skin is really dry, and they were like, you probably need to get a serum. And I'm like, oh my God, I've come to this, and I need multiple layers of, you know, defense for my face. But I have to say, I'm interested to try the Younique one, but I found a complete difference, because especially sorry.
It's my phone, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's I even found, like, even at like in the wintertime, especially where you're like in dry, you know, settings and stuff, that my face was itchy. It was that dry. So even with moisturizer, like, I couldn't get rid of it. And I found, even using the serum for a little bit, that it was the first time that my face felt soft. Like it felt like it actually had a little moisture barrier over. So I understand, like, what you said about just putting a moisturizer, but the serum is, and it is expensive. Like, I think a little crop.
They are. They're pricey. Yeah.
They're pricey. And I'm the one, like, I'll go buy for my 16-year-old, I'll go buy her the Bee's Knees and the Sephora's, and I'm buying her all these palettes and stuff, because that's what 16-year-olds are into. And I'm going and trying to buy the cheap stuff, and I'm almost like, I can't believe I just spent this amount of money on this. But once you start using it,
makes a huge, makes a huge, huge, huge difference. So that's kind of, you know, the skincare. And once your skin looks good and feels good, you will need less makeup, because you won't have as much that you're trying to cover up, and you'll just feel better. You know, I get a lot of people message me about coverage. That's the number one thing, especially in people, you know, our age and older, because they've got stuff that they want to cover. You know, when you're younger, it's like my daughter, who's almost 12, she's like, Mom, can I put on foundation? I'm like, no, you don't need it. Your skin is just beautiful the way it is. You need nothing. But when we get a little bit older, we really need a little bit of help, just to cover up some of those things that we don't feel confident about, those little age spots, this redness, these discolorations, unevenness, pores. And they'll say, I have really, so I'll get, you know, messages saying, I have really dry skin and I have rosacea. And I'm looking at their skin and I'm like, oh my goodness, you have a lot of dryness. You have a lot of redness. You've got, you really have some skin things that we need to address before we start branching into the makeup side of things, because it's really challenging to put on makeup over the top of really dry, flaky, irritated, inflamed skin. So that's why skincare, I always say, is just the number one thing. Just, go to the skincare and then we can build from there.
Because that was a question I had to you. I said, like, if I had to come to you, because like I said, this, these items are not, cheap. They're not super expensive. They're kind of middle of the road pricing. Like if you're starting to buy more quality for your face and stuff. But that's why I said to you, if someone wanted to get into actually using the products, what would be the number one thing, or what would you put in your kit? And you said skincare, hands down first.
Absolutely.
Because you fix this up, it'll help kind of balance out your skin a bit more. And then you kind of start adding to the repertoire. Like you said, the
Absolutely.
makeup bag gets bigger and bigger as you kind of get more and more comfortable with it. And that's where the conversation today is not to tell you you're doing everything wrong, because I'm sure I do everything wrong. But it's like everything, but it's more about understanding about as you get older, how you still want to feel a certain way, but also, like I said, your skin does radically change. And it was amazing the last couple of years that I threw stuff out that I'm going, this does not work for me anymore, because it's stuff that I could probably been using for 10, 15 years.
And it is the one thing that people are really scared to try something new.
Yeah.
They don't want to break out. That's the biggest thing. They don't want to have a reaction. They don't want to get itchy. They don't want to develop a rash. They don't want all of this stuff to happen. And you can be pretty rest assured when you're buying good quality products that are specifically for your own skin, that you can have a little bit of faith knowing that you're going to be okay. So if you have, none of our products are perfumed. So right off the bat, if somebody has sensitive skin, it's a good safe bet that you can kind of put a little bit of confidence into knowing. But I get it. Nobody wants to break out. Nobody wants to risk having their face blow up in a rash and redness and irritation. And it's the number one product, I would say, that most people are nervous to switch from something that they're using, because what they're using they feel like is okay. But what happens is, as you age, you're going to realize that it's probably not okay for you at 40 when it was okay for you at 20.
Just like the mini skirt.
Exactly. Not necessarily a great idea right now.
Some point in your life, there's certain articles and things that you should not be wearing anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
You got the body rocket, but yeah, it's
but still,
where you're going. That's not going to happen again. You hold it, toss.
Yeah.
So some of the questions that I have, and the reason why I'm going to ask questions, because I know I'm kind of very novice when it comes to makeup stuff anyway, but the number one question that I have now that I found change is like foundation, because I think that's kind of the number one question I'm sure you're getting a lot. Is you go from the foundations that are kind of, I don't even know what the terminology is, but it's like a minimal coverage, or you get like a heavy coverage, or you put it on and next thing you know you're Casper, because like your face here is white and here is pink, and you've gotten yourself kind of whited out completely. So maybe you can kind of talk us through the different types of foundations, and then maybe what would be more suitable for certain skin types, or for certain, like for someone in their 40s who could be using. So that's my number one question, I know.
Yes. So, and it can be certainly intimidating trying to pick a color, because there are so many. I've gotten really, really good at shade matching. So I can look at you right off the bat and I can tell you exactly what your skin undertone is, and which basically means that's the kind of undertone you want in the shade of the product you're using. There's pink undertones, yellow undertones, and then there's neutral, which is like a combination. So somebody that might burn a little bit, but the burn turns into a tan. Somebody that burns all the time and they're always got this pinkish, or they just tan and they look like they've been on the beach. There's 3 different undertones, which is super, super important. Another tip that I would give is always go a little bit lighter, like a hint lighter than you think you are going to need. Everybody kind of wants this tannish look, but if you go a little bit lighter, and not, 3 shades lighter, you don't want to look white either.
Right.
But if you just go a little bit lighter and matching it to your neck, not your face, especially as we age, your face color is almost always different than your neck. almost
Really?
always,
Okay.
because you end up with, lots of people end up with capillaries that burst, which adds a little bit of redness. They have some darkness, there's uneven skin tones, they might have some inflammation. And when you look at your face and you look at your neck, it's completely a different shade. So anytime, if I'm not color matching you, if you're going into a drugstore, department store, and you're trying to pick out a foundation, you always want to match it to your jawline, your neck, to your face. That's the number one thing that I could say, because it will blend seamlessly then into your neck and won't give you that
We'll get
harsh
that jagged where you're like,
line.
"Whoop,
You will
whoop."
not
Yeah,
get that
exactly.
harsh line. Yeah.
Exactly.
So if you do go a little bit lighter, it's always easier to add color back to your face through bronzers or blushes. And I'll talk a little bit about that. Lots of people say to me, I don't even know what a bronzer is. I don't even know how to use it. But you can add some color back. It's very difficult to take color away.
Right. Gotcha.
So with regards to the products, we have everything from a light product, which is a lightweight, light coverage, right through to a full coverage, heavier product. And when I say heavier, people get scared because they don't like the way it feels on their face. None of our products you're going to feel on your face. It doesn't matter if it's the lightweight or the full coverage. They're mineral based. They all have properties in them to make it feel like you're not wearing any makeup, which I really love. I find the best way to kind of pick a foundation is really based on the kind of coverage that you're needing. So do you have a lot of problem areas on your skin? Do you have a lot of breakouts? Do you have rosacea? Do you have a lot of things that really you want good coverage because you want your face to look like it doesn't have those areas, the areas that
Just
typically,
yeah.
yeah, just a blank canvas that you can then build on. So I will show you the different coverage products we have. I'm going to put one on today just to show you how easy it is to apply. They're all easy to apply, but I do find coverage products are probably one of the more intimidating products for women. It's easy to slap on a pressed powder. Anybody can grab a powder and a compact with a sponge and put it all over their face. That's easy. When it comes to some of the other products, I find a lot of my customers get really nervous. They don't know what brush goes with what. They don't know if they should put it on with their fingers, if they should put it on with a sponge, if they should, apply it with like one of these blending buds. They just don't know how to apply it. That's really, it depends on what product you're choosing. So trying not to overcomplicate, I'll just show you the products we have and tell you what the kind of coverage is that you would get with them, because everybody has different things that they want for their own individual skin. So this would be the lightest weight. It's a BB Flawless. Lots of people have heard of a BB cream. I have a lot of clients say, oh yeah, I use a BB cream. I love a BB cream. And basically all it is it's a really good tinted moisturizer that adds hydration. It's not, you would still need your moisturizer because it's not meant for moisturizing, but it does add another level of hydration to your skin with natural SPF. This is my go-to in the summer when most people are not wearing a lot of makeup in the summer, me included. You're outside, you're sweating, you're gardening, you're going here, going there, going to the beach, but you still want a little bit of coverage if you're going to be outside. And this is it. This kind of just gives you an even complexion. It will even everything out with this moisturized, hydrated glow, basically. And it's really good for teenagers, kids that are just sort of wanting a little bit of coverage, wanting to get into that foundation, but their moms are saying, I don't want you putting on this full set of makeup. This is a really nice option for them. And it's really good for mature skinned women that have a lot of wrinkles and fine lines, because just adding this little bit of a moisturizing cream, you can put it on with your fingers, just adds this level of hydration and reduces the way that those wrinkles look. This is the one that I'm going to use today. It's a liquid foundation. It is like
now this
no
is
other.
The one that's hard to get, right? This is the one that's been selling out.
So this one and this one. This is the one that is our newest product, and we cannot keep it in stock. It's a spray.
Yeah, I've been hearing.
Yeah, it's amazing. We can't keep it in stock. It comes in stock for a couple of days in all shades, and then it's gone for another 3 months. Like, I cannot keep it in stock. It is incredible. It's amazing. It's easy to apply. This is the one that went viral 3 years ago,
Yeah.
called Liquid Gold in a Bottle, Magic in a Bottle, and everybody went crazy over it. And it was out of stock for 6 months. It's still an amazing product. So I always come back to this one because it will work for pretty much every single skin type, with the exception of very dry, flaky skin. It will give this illusion of like a Photoshop finish. It goes on super easy with a brush, and it dries to a really nice matte, powdery softness. So it doesn't feel like you have anything on your skin, and it's buildable. So alone, when you just put it all over, it gives about a medium coverage, but you can go back and apply more without it looking cakey. It won't look like you've applied anymore, to get a full coverage. So it's kind of the number one product for people that want to build on their foundation, that like this matte finish, no shine. Really, really good for all skin types, except if you have very, very dry skin. If you have very dry skin, it's going to sit on top of the flakiness and it's not going to look nice.
But dry
So-
skin is probably a hard thing anyway, because like I said, you really kind of got to get to the root of what's going on. And a lot of times it's what you're
Exactly.
eating, right?
Yeah.
You're not drinking enough, you're not
Yeah.
taking enough oils in and stuff like that as well. Yeah, that was one I
Exactly.
think a couple of years ago I was trying to get my hands on, and like nobody could get
Yeah.
nobody could get it because it was completely sold out.
Exactly. So it's kind of gotten, sat on the back burner a little bit because we've come out with some new products, but I keep coming back to it because I love it. Everybody that uses it still loves it, but we do have a couple of different options as well. This is a stick foundation, which is our full coverage. This is, if you want super full coverage, it's a cream based. So if you do have some dryness on your face, this is the way to go. But again, it's really only the way to go if you want full coverage. If you've got dry skin and want light coverage, you could do a BB cream. If you want that full coverage and you've got a little bit of dryness, then the stick is the way to go. It's super, super easy to apply. It's a stick cream based. You just apply it all over your face and you blend it in with a brush. Super,
Right.
super easy. But it's our, the fullest coverage product that we have.
Now, could you use that as a concealer?
You absolutely can. I tend to use it in a lighter color. This is the
Right.
lightest one we have for under my eyes.
Because I have the dark circle. Yeah.
And we have concealer as well, for under the eyes, which is fantastic. It's very thick, I would say. And I have a tip for thinning it out, because when you've got some crepiness and some fine lines around your eyes as we age, we don't want it settling into our lines. So
Right.
some people prefer to use the stick foundation as their highlight and their concealer under their eyes, because it is full coverage. It doesn't give as good coverage as the concealer does, but it's not you're not at as much of a risk of it settling into those fine lines.
Right, and kind of creeping into all these little, like I said, all
Which
these
you don't
little-
want.
No.
You don't want to be able to see those lines of makeup.
And that's the thing too, like a lot of people, because like I said, I struggle with the dark circles and it's sunken in a little bit. It's just like I inherited from my mom, God love her. But that's probably the number one question that I have a lot of times is what to do with this. And I mean, I've tried lotions and potions and things to try to lighten it, but I mean, it is what it is. But having a concealer, sometimes, like I said, you can get away with powder and just conceal this as long as you don't have that big, black dark circles under your eyes.
Yeah.
You can kind of get away with it. So, okay, cool. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And then this is the spray foundation. So this is the newest product. This is the one we can't keep in stock. Everybody wants the new thing. And this is amazing. It comes out in a spray. It's so easy to apply. You just literally a couple of sprays on the brush and you just apply it all over your face. It doesn't feel like you're wearing anything. It's a matte finish. And because it's a spray, it's so lightweight, it doesn't look like you have anything on your face. So it has all of these properties that everybody wants in a foundation. Again, because it dries to a matte finish, it's not fantastic if you have a lot of dryness. That's, we got to fix the dryness problem before we can start applying some matte products and powders and things like that, or it's really not going to look good. It's going to look extremely dry and dull. But this foundation is super, super easy. It's just not in stock. You can't get it.
Did you spray it right on your face, or you spray it onto your brush?
You definitely spray it on the brush. It does come out in like a burst of spray, like little spray particles. So if you try to spray that on your face, it's in your hair, it's in your eyebrows, it's in your eyelashes. I mean, you could try to be targeted to spray a little bit, but the easiest thing, a couple of sprays on your brush and kind of do half your face, another couple of sprays, do the other half your face, and then you're done. That's it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Easy peasy.
Perfect.
So before you do, and then we, of course, we've got a pressed powder, which is, you know,
Your
it's
little
super,
thing.
super easy. It's your go-to. It's the thing that you throw in your purse. It's a pressed foundation powder. So it's got, and it's mineral. It's got amazing coverage, way better than like a little CoverGirl compact that we're used to, because it is a foundation. So it's got some thickness to the coverage, but it doesn't feel like you're wearing anything because it's a light powder. Again, not great if you have dry skin.
But it's a good touch up if you're out to a function or something.
Oh
You
my
feel like
goodness.
it's starting to get shiny and stuff. It's one of those things you kind of go into.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Absolutely. Yep. So I guess we'll just get started. I'm just going to do.
Go for it. Yeah. Start showing
Yeah.
me basic tips and tricks.
One thing I will say is super important as well is a primer. Do you use a primer?
I don't.
No, and most people don't.
No, again, no.
Yep, most people don't, because again, similar to skincare, it's people think it's an added expense. You can't see it. Is it really necessary? It's not like you get that instant satisfaction from buying a new beautiful lipstick. You can't see it. You can't really feel it. Do I really need it? That's the question that I get asked all the time. Yes, you absolutely need it, especially on mature skin. So basically what a primer does, and I'm holding up 3 because we have 3 different types. Similar to the foundations, there are 3 different types depending on what your skin type is like. So this one is for normal, regular skin. You have no problem areas. You don't have dryness issues. You don't have oiliness issues. Your skin is just normal. That's what this one is for. We've got a hydrating primer. So if your skin is super dry and you still really want that coverage, but you're at the in-between trying to fix the dryness and you want some added moisture, which is always a good thing, the hydrating primer is definitely the one that you will do. It gives another level of that hydration. So your skin won't look as dull with the foundation. It will just seem more glowy and hydrated feeling. And then the mattifying primer. Some people get nervous when they hear mattifying because they don't want their skin to look dull and perfectly matte. They want a glow. I don't think they named it right. They probably should have a different name. It can be used for every skin type. And what it does, it's a little bit thicker than the other ones, is it actually creates this full blank canvas, fills in the pores. So any of your larger pores that you have anywhere, it kind of fills them in. And it also prevents because it's got mattifying properties, it prevents those oils from coming through and breaking down your makeup, so that halfway through the day, when you see it breaking down in your forehead, on your nose, and your T-zone area, it's not going to do that. It's just going to stay looking the way that it should. And all of them also fill in those fine lines. So the reason why you need a primer is if you try to put a foundation directly onto your skin, it's not going to look as good as it will if you have a primer. You're going to use more product because it's going to be seeping into those fine lines and areas, as opposed to if you think about a primer on a wall, you're going to use more paint if you don't prime the walls first. It's exactly the same premise. So that's the analogy behind it. You put it on, it acts as a canvas. When you put your makeup on, you're going to use less. It's not going to seep in, and it's not going to melt off your face throughout the day. It's going to keep it pushed, which is super, super important. So I'm going to go ahead and use the new one, which is the mattifying primer. They all pretty much look the same. They're, a little bit of a clear, almost like a serum. So this is what it looks like.
So I guess a little goes a long way, because it's just something.
A little of everything goes a long way.
Okay.
Yeah. So really you just want to put it all over your face, including your eyes. It's gentle enough for your eyes.
Because that's the question while you're putting it on. Because I find
Yeah.
sometimes too that a lot of times, like my dry spots are kind of under the eye, like
Mhm.
around your eyes, especially because I guess you're wearing eyeshadow all the time and you're constantly wiping and
Yep.
stripping. So I guess it's like everything when you're night serum. I guess there's specific eye serums that you have as well, right? For under the eye,
Yes.
kind of. Okay.
Yep. So we have one that's my absolute, we've got a face serum, but we've got this, which I absolutely swear by, and it came out a few years ago. It's an Uplift Beauty Serum.
Okay.
Basically, it's oils, if you can see in the bottle.
Yeah, yeah.
It's highly concentrated vitamin C and vitamin E oils, which are like have huge anti-aging properties to them. So they will lighten up darkness. Those oils will seep into those fine lines and almost make them visually disappear. They're still there. If your skin gets dried out, they're just all gonna blah again.
Yeah, at midnight it goes back to normal.
At midnight, it goes back to normal. But you
Yeah.
put it on before you go to sleep and it seeps all in. And it really helps to diminish the appearance of those fine lines and the darkness around your eyes. And you can put it all over your face if you don't have reactive skin. Like I said, it's oil. It's really light oil. But if you're prone to breakouts or prone to clogged pores, then I wouldn't recommend putting it all over your face. I have women that put it all down their neck and they put it everywhere because they're like, I want
it.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So that's that primer. When you put on a primer, you want to make sure you let it sit for a few minutes and really just give it a chance to absorb into your face before you put on your makeup. So for each of these products, there's different tools that I'd recommend. All of them, with the exception of the BB, you're going to use a brush. You can use a sponge. Lots of women really like applying makeup with a sponge. Not the best bet for something that's going to dry to a powder. You're not going to get the same overall appearance as you would if you buff it in with a brush and blend it out. It's really good for like a cream based or a liquid based that isn't going to dry to a powder. So
Gotcha.
to not overcomplicate.
Moisturizers are kind of, like feel wet, right? And
Yeah.
that's why a lot of people feel if you have dry skin, you can't do powders.
Mm-hmm.
So they go to the moisturizer thinking, or to the foundation, sorry, because they feel like there's moisturizing factors. But I always hated using foundation because you always had that shiny kind of afterflow.
Which is why these ones, this one and the spray, are amazing because they dry to a powder. So I always recommend setting it anyway with just a light translucent powder. And I'll talk about, how amazing that is and the importance of that. So you just want to give it a really good shake because it can tend to separate. This particular foundation comes in a dropper.
Nice.
Which is so easy. You literally just take 4 to 5 drops on the brush, apply it, and blend it out. It really doesn't get much easier than that.
I've actually seen some demos of people who've probably had like a birthmark or something like that, just showing how just going over literally eliminates, like if you had, if you have like a big, age spot, or if you got some rosacea, the coverage on this one in particular is amazing.
And you can also, a lot of people, when they really have some problem areas, you can mix a concealer in with any of the foundation products to give that other level, because they're cream-based foundation or cream-based concealers, to give another level of coverage.
Ooh, nice one.
So I'm just going to go ahead. This is the brush that I'm using, and I love it. It's just a dual-ended brush. It's called a powder brush. Anything that says it's powder, even a blush brush, a big puffy powder brush, anything that's a powdery softness brush is what you want to use for this, because it dries to a powder. It's not going to cake up in your brush. You don't need a specific foundation type brush. Any sort of powder brush. So I get asked a lot, I want the foundation, but I don't really have the money to invest in a good brush with it. What do I do? And I just say, look in your makeup drawer. If you've got a fluffy blush brush like this, that'll work. Anything that's soft and fluffy will work to apply the foundation.
Essentially, it's more of a blending effect more so than
it really is.
It's about kind of, working it in to get everything kind of covered.
Yep. So I'll start over on, see, just 5 little drops. I'm going to start on the side where my age spots are. Right there.
I'm glad it's not just me.
Yep. So all you really do is just kind of
spread it out,
pat it all over. kind of stippling it into your cheeks. And then the reason it's so easy to apply with blush or with a brush is you just kind of buff it in. And you can use this little end to get into like these little areas. This is what I really like for blending out my concealer.
Sure. So you go right over the eyelid.
Yep, I go right over my eyes.
Gotcha. Now, do you blend that into your neck as well?
Yes, absolutely. So you go right up to your hairline and then you come right down your neck. I usually do the neck as the very last step because wherever you put the product first is where you're going to get the most coverage. You don't need a lot of coverage on your neck. So I do my face and then just blend it down. Yeah.
A lot of people, you see the mistake that, like I said, they have this big kind of cut line, and then next thing you know, it's like they're yellow and white or pink and white.
Exactly.
So just blending down, and even with your powder, it just kind of gives you that that finished piece.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't have my glasses on. I'm just looking. My mirror is like way over there, just looking to make sure. So you can just see
nice.
the age spots. And really, it's already dry. It doesn't feel like I have anything on my face. And then I just kind of take the leftover and blend right down my neck.
And it's not shiny because, like I said, a lot of times we say you wear it, you get that shine. Like
not shiny at all. And really, because it dries to a powder, you don't necessarily need a powder to go on over the top to get rid of a shine like you do with some of the other creamy based foundations. But it still is nice to set the makeup, especially if you have combo or oily skin, because those oils will still start to pull through a little bit, even with the mattifying primer. What the oils, what a setting powder does is it just sets everything so that those oils don't come through at all. You don't get any shine, and there's no risk of like touching your face and having anything rub off, even though you've got this matte look and it doesn't feel like anything. So that was really just the foundation.
Yeah.
Super, super easy. Then you would move on to a concealer. I definitely have like these dry circle or, you know, these mommy tired eye circles, I call them.
40-year-old plus women who do it all.
Exactly. So there's a couple of tips with the concealer that are super important. Lots of people, I guess I get asked a lot. They say they want to go lighter with the concealer because they want to brighten up under the eyes. And that's usually the way that you would go, is you would go 1 to 2 shades lighter with your concealer than you went with your foundation, which will just brighten it up. Now, you're not going to go raccoon eyes. I'm going to show you the correct way to kind of apply it because most people just go like that.
Right.
And then what happens is you look like you've got raccoon eyes and the focus is right there, not where you want it to be. You don't want the focus to be there.
Right.
If you have puffiness, in addition to the dark circles, if you've got bags under your eyes, if you've got a lot of puffiness, you are not going to want to go lighter. You're going to want to color match to the foundation that you've used to cover up those dark circles. Because what will happen is with the puffiness or bags, if you go light, then you're going to draw more attention to the bags. You can't cover up the bags.
Gotcha.
You can cover up the darkness. You can't cover up the bags.
I'm glad you told me that, because I find a couple times when I've had concealers, that's what I've done. They've been like, oh, well, you need to use lighter concealers. And I always found the opposite effect. So
that it draws more attention.
Yeah. So then it's been like trying to go with a thicker, which is like I was saying to you about the stick version. I found it kind of layered it in so then you can blend it out and you just didn't know. So it just looked like you woke up fresh. And you
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to use the same shade that I used. I don't have the puffiness or the bags, but I find for most aging women, they prefer to just go with a shade of their foundation. Okay. You can also then multi-purpose this and use it for any problem areas because it's the same shade. So if you wanted to cover blemishes where you needed a little bit more coverage on some of your age spots or redness or rosacea, you would actually apply the concealer underneath your foundation for the best coverage. So you would take it and you would just blot it on the areas, pressing it onto the skin where you needed that extra coverage. And then when you're putting on your foundation, the only thing that would change would be instead of swirling over where those blemishes or age spots are, you're pressing it on, or even using the little one to press
Right,
in,
just tweak it.
and then you blend around the edges of it so that you're not buffing away the concealer. And then when you put your concealer or your foundation on over the top, you're not even going to see that you have that concealer in underneath because it's the same shade and you've already kind of pushed it into your skin. With the concealer under the eyes, I like to apply it over the top, especially if you're going with a lighter color, because you know, it is going to highlight, it's going to brighten, but for ease sake, we're just going to use the same color.
Gotcha. So do you find generally most mature women are kind of going with matching
Same
the
color.
same color?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or even, you know, people who have acne, teenagers, people in their 20s, when they really are still very prone to those breakouts, even though now, I mean, I find as we're getting older, we can have those hormonal breakouts on the chin and, you know, stuff like that. If you have the same color, it's very easy to conceal, as opposed to needing to have two, one for brightening, one for concealing. This will still conceal.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I just kind of mash it up. Now, the biggest tip with this that I like is it's so thick. It literally covers absolutely everything. My friend Dana refers to it as her war paint because it literally
My
covers.
grandma used to call it spackle. She's like,
Yeah, it covers
covers
everything. This
Oh,
tiny little bit is like more than what you need. So you can warm it up on your ring finger and kind of apply it where you need it to go. Or what you can do is just to thin it out a little bit so that it's not so thick. You can just take the top of your primer and like the tiniest little dot. I don't know if you can see
Gotcha.
that.
Just to
Okay.
kind of dilute it to make it a little bit easier.
Yeah,
to-
it thins it out.
Okay.
And I just mix them up together on my fingers
Nice.
so that it's not so thick. And when you're applying it, you want to apply down kind of in a V. Be really, really gentle with your eye areas. I come right into the corner because I've got some darkness. And you kind of come down following your nose and then right up to the corner of your eye, up to your hairline. And what that does is when you blend it in, it's going to kind of give you this little eye lift as you're pulling upwards. If you just go right here, that's where the focus is going to be. You're automatically going to look like you've got coverage right there. But if you blend it down into your face in a V, it makes a world of difference.
That's a good tip because I was doing it wrong.
And that's how I feel like we've all done it. Like that's what we did. We just went because you want to cover the dark.
And you stopped at dry. You
And then
didn't
you
go
stop.
any further. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, again, you almost had concealer that was almost white, and your skin was probably a medium neutral color.
Yeah.
And you had this whole, like I said, raccoon kind of effect.
Yep, exactly. And that's what we've always done.
So we learned.
So you go light, you want to cover.
Welcome to the 2020s, people. It's not 1983 anymore.
Yep. So it's really nice when you put on the concealer just to let it kind of hang out for a little bit, just to warm up to your skin. You've already warmed it up in between your fingers, so you've kind of taken away a minute. But it is really nice to let it warm up to your skin so that you're not pulling that under eye area. So then you want to blend it out, obviously. You could use like a little blending bud. This is a Real Techniques one just from Walmart. They're super inexpensive and it can be used for so many different things. Or if you already had like this brush, you could just use the smaller end. And what you do is where you want the most coverage, you're kind of pushing it into your skin. But then where you've come down and you may not necessarily need that coverage, you're just kind of buffing it in.
So it's really the same concept, just blend.
Yeah. Blend. Same thing with the eyeshadow.
So I have a question for you since we're talking about concealer, because this is the thing too, a lot of times is when you're doing your eyeshadow and sometimes you get the residue that kind of falls down onto your cheekbone. So the question is, do you hold off doing your concealer before you do your eyeshadow, or do you kind of go back and touch up with the concealer after?
So that's a really good question. There's a few different tips when you're applying your eyeshadow. So if you're going to be using a lot of shimmery shadows, shadows that have, you know, that shimmery metallic effect, you are going to absolutely have fall off. It's going to do, and then you're going to have this sparkle all over your face.
Right.
So you can actually do your eye makeup first before you do anything else at all. So that it seems very backwards for a lot of women. But if you do your eyes first, then you can just clean up underneath your eyes and then apply the foundation. You've already got your eye makeup done. You don't necessarily need to go in then and put on foundation and all that stuff. That's the easiest way to clean it up.
Gotcha.
Another tip is when you're applying the eyeshadow is not to sweep it across. It's to press it on. And once you've got it in place, gently blend it out.
Right.
Concealer can be used then to actually do a cleanup. So if you did have a little bit of fall up here, don't just wipe it with your fingers because you'll get a little smudge of the makeup. What you would do is just softly with like a soft brush, kind of try to brush it away. And then if there's any residue there, you can use a tiny little bit of the concealer on the brush, dab over, and basically it will just cover it over.
Just to match it up again. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. Okay. So when you've got your face done, it's super blank canvas. It probably looks now like you're wearing makeup because nobody has a blank canvas face.
Exactly.
Nobody, like even a 5-year-old, their face is not completely blank canvas without any coloration to their cheeks at all. So adding color back is super, super important. And you can do it with a bronzer or a blush. I love a bronzer, and this would be one of my top 5 products that I'd recommend everybody. We are retiring them and we don't have them anymore. We just found out last week.
Bronzer.
So I will show you this bronzer, but really any good bronzer will do. And I really like a bronzer that is not fully matte. It's not going to give you like this big shimmer, but if it's got a little bit of a glow to it, like an iridescent type thing, it will just give your skin a glow and it will just make you look more youthful naturally.
Like a healthy tan. Yeah, I had
a healthy tanned look.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
So this bronzer I've used in so many different ways. If you wanted to learn how to contour, we can contour with a bronzer, a light contour, but the easiest thing to do is to add some color back. And I'll just show you kind of the key places. And again, it can be any bronzer that you want to go pick up. If we still had this one's best, but we don't. So basically any sort of fluffy brush. I'm just picking up this fluffy brush, but by rights, you could use this same brush. It's now dry because the foundation powder has now dry. You could just give it a little wipe on a tissue and then you could pick up your bronzer with this same brush. So basically where you want to apply a bronzer, and I'm just going to do half my face and I'm going to show you what a difference it is kind of from your ear down to the corner of your mouth.
So just under your cheekbone?
Just right under your cheekbone is
Gotcha.
where you would want to put it. And I'm not going to go for this chiseled contour look today because that's not what most people want, but you could do it with a smaller brush and really chiseling it in, and that's a whole other process. This is just going to add some color. So kind of just coming in, stippling it in. And I like to put it in place and then I'll come back and I'll blend after. And you kind of just come down to where your cheekbone would naturally end, not coming right down to your mouth. And it's just going to...
Yeah, you can see. It almost feels like I said, and it kind of lifts your cheekbone a little bit.
It does. It's like this lift and a contour and a shaping, because that's where your natural hollows would be to your cheeks, would be right there. So when you put on foundation, you're wiping all that contour and shaping away, and you kind of want to add it back. Doing the same thing to your forehead, right up along your forehead line. If you've got a larger forehead and you want to reduce this kind of that size of your forehead, you can apply a little bit more coming down a little bit lower, and it gives a shadow kind of naturally where the sun would hit. It's all kind of illusions. I just like to add some color, like I've gotten a tan and I'm out in the sun.
You're a little bit like me, a little albino.
Yep.
I think most Newfoundland women are albino at this point.
Yep.
lack of sun. So especially being in a house
Exactly.
like this, we'll probably need a different shade of foundation.
Yep, exactly. So really that's there. And then I like to apply a little bit at the jawline as well. Anywhere where you want to create a shadow as we age, the skin kind of starts to sag on our necks and we lose that jawline and you feel like you want to like stand up a little bit straighter.
Yeah.
So adding a little bit of a shadow right to your jawline and down your neck is going to give the illusion of a more kind of chiseled jawline.
Yeah, so that's a good idea. So yeah, as you see your kind of your natural
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
Yeah,
Kind of
like the
focus.
hollows. So here, here, and a little bit of color up to your forehead.
Gotcha.
That's it. And it's super, super easy. It takes 2 seconds. So, I mean, feels like this is taking a long time, but it's a little bit of primer. You're putting on your foundation, which is seconds. Concealer really doesn't take that much time. And that's an optional thing. If you feel like you don't really need a concealer, don't go with it. Bronzer, adding a little bit of color.
And I did that wrong. So it's great.
Like easy. Then you can get into like blush and all this stuff. But really, this is kind of the basics to pull yourself together and a little bit of a face. I'm going to go. Yeah.
Quick question for you. So
Yes.
with the bronzer, you go down here. Now, if you're just doing a blush, you're taking like a bit of a peachy color. Do you tend then to go more on top of your cheek lines or do you follow the same concept?
So you go right above.
Okay.
Show you a blush. This one's a really pretty one that I love. It's called Sisterly and it's got a little bit of a gold fleck in it, which also gives you glow. Like as we're aging, we want glow. We don't want to look greasy and oily, but we want glow because glow gives us that more of a youthful look. So anywhere where we can get a little bit of glow added back to our skin is huge. So it's one of the reasons I really like this one because it's not a shimmer, it's just a little gold fleck and there is a difference. So I'll go ahead and apply it just to show you anyway, but you would put it right up above your bronzer.
Okay. That's what I was going to say. It's a little bit of a different, it's more because you're trying to this color.
And if you apply it right here and kind of up to your hairline, it's going to make your cheeks appear a little bit more plump, which, you know, as we age, like I'm starting to get, everything feels like it's pulling down and we want everything to like pull back up.
Go up this way.
We want it to go up. So just lightly on the cheek, just above where you put the bronzer. And it's just going to add that little bit of color. Now, the biggest misconception I get all of the time is I have a lot of people say, I have rosacea, I have red cheeks, I'm trying to cover it up, I don't want to put color back.
Right.
It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. No, it's not the same thing. It's just giving you a little bit of a color and a little bit of a youthful glow. So you're kind of applying it to the apple of your cheek and just above where you put the bronzer right up to your hairline.
Nice. Love it.
And that's it. So it just gives a little color.
Yeah, and it looks more natural because that's really the conversation. It's like most of us, you don't want to be, you know, we're not like 16-year-olds where you're like contouring and the highlighter.
Like the chiseled and the highlighter and all the layers and all the stuff. We just want to pull ourselves together, have a little bit of a glow, look a little bit more youthful, and just cover up some of those problem areas.
Yeah,
that's really it. So the setting powder is, again, something that a lot of people skip. They don't know what it's for. They're like, do I really need that? Especially if you've applied a concealer, you need to set it. That concealer is cream based, and the easiest way to prevent it from seeping into those fine lines is to set it. If you use a pressed powder, they're generally a little bit more heavy, and that's when under your eyes looks crepey. And it kind of, you see it creeping into those little wrinkles, into that loose skin. Whereas a setting powder, it could be any setting powder. Setting powder is different than a pressed powder. It's much more lightweight. The particles are very, very fine. And it's not going to make anything that you, anywhere you put it on, look heavy. It's just going to set it so that you don't end up with those crepiness.
So it's like kind of almost doing like you're doing a blotting effect where you're kind of setting everything in.
That's exactly it. It's a loose powder. I'm just picking it up. It's translucent. There's zero color to it at all. And then I just press it all over my entire face. And it's just going to make everything look more seamless. And then if you have oily combination skin, you can focus a little bit more on the areas where you have more oils. So really pressing it into your nose, your cheeks, any area where you have fine lines or wrinkles and you have problems with makeup settling in those areas, that's where you really want to focus. I use a little bit, again, you can use the little brush for picking it up for in underneath your eyes. And you don't want to move around the concealer, so you're just pushing it in.
Right. So like I said, it's exactly that. You're just kind of pressing in and kind of
Yep.
setting everything, all the work that you've done up to that point.
Exactly. And this is kind of, you know, your last step for your face. And some people skip it, but it's such an important step.
Because that's the thing too, like after all day and you've been working and you're running around and the wind is blowing and stuff, eventually you start to feel like your foundation's kind of given away and you're starting to kind of see the little age spot creeping back to
And like you had said, you feel like you need to add a little bit more powder to your face, to your nose, and that's going to prevent you, that and the primer will prevent you from having to touch up at all. I have friends of mine that will go for a run at lunch hour, you know, and go back to work, and everything, even though they've sweat, everything still looks perfect because your makeup is set, you know, it's set to be like that. So, I mean, that's what we all want, right? Easy.
Well, that's it. And I think that's a lot of it is because, again, we're going back to, we're talking to a certain category of women. I'm sure there's probably a little bit of everybody watching, but the 40-plus-year-olds that, like I said, work out this huge change and shift in our face and stuff. And we never grew up with, I never grew up with primer. You're lucky if you had a bit of foundation and some mascara.
Absolutely.
Eyeshadow. So for us, we're opening our world up. I know with my 16-year-old, I watch her, you know, kind of put her face together, and you're just like, I can't even get my head around applications and all the lotions and potions. So it's nice to kind of take the time to say, this is the time to kind of go back to square one, take care of your skin. Secondly, invest in those things that's going to give you more longevity with your makeup, because a lot of times you get frustrated because you do yourself up and you're halfway through the night and you're, next thing you know, you go in to use the washer and your face is like half rubbed off, or your mascara's ran, or your eyeshadow's kind of, you know, flaked onto your skin or onto your cheekbone. So,
and we also don't want products that are going to make us look older. You
yeah,
know, like less is really more. It really is. So packing on layer after layer after layer of all of these different products is really going to age you. The setting powder is a big one for making sure that it's not going to seep into those places you don't want it seeping into. That's kind of a big complaint I get amongst a lot of people as they're aging and their skin is maturing, is, you know, they want the coverage, but they put on the foundation and then it doesn't look good. It's in all of their wrinkles, you know, and they find they're wiping and trying to get it out of the wrinkles because they haven't primed and they haven't set. Those are the biggest, you know, important things.
Skincare
prime and set. Prime and set.
If that's anything to get out of here, if you invest in anything,
prime
and setting and good skincare, obviously, right from the get-go.
Huge.
Your skin, it'll help kind of calm everything down.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how we are for time. How are we doing for time?
Running a little bit long, but I'm sure.
Okay, because the eyeshadow palette, like I can show the eyeshadow palette. Obviously mascara is huge. If there were two, I mean, you can go without eyeshadow. Lots of people can go daily without any eyeshadow on their eyes. I know they can, but
yes,
you know, we can do that. But if there were two kind of necessity products that I would say for making yourself look younger, more awake, would be to do something with your brows. As we age, our brows fall out. They turn gray, they go wonky on us. We maybe have a lot of sparseness. I get that a lot. And what filling in your brows does is gives you an instant eye lift. Instant. It lifts your brows.
That's actually a good plan. I think we need to do a session just eyeshadow and eyebrow. Maybe we can pop over and we'll do a second video, just because I think that's probably number one.
Because that's key. It's just the eyes. Like what we've done is we've done the face. This is your base. But the eyes is, you know, that's a whole other eye opener. Really.
No pun intended. What we'll do is we'll switch over and we'll go do a video so we can kind of rerun it, because, you know.
Perfect.
But yeah, so going back to kind of the basics, and I know we had this conversation, and again, this is not about you having to go out and spend a fortune on stuff. It's about cherry picking the things that you
Yeah.
don't currently have in your repertoire. And everybody has, like, you're halfway through things. So we're not
Yeah.
saying go and clean everything and come buy my products. It's
Yeah.
about what do we have right now if you don't have the primer, if you don't have a good, really good skincare, or if you've been using the skincare for a long time and you're nervous, try a little taste piece. Do you have like kind of a thing, like if we tried a product and I wasn't happy with it, is there any guarantees or anything? Or
Yes.
if I try colors that don't work for me skin, like foundation wise?
Yep. So we've got a full 14-day money back or exchange guarantee without any question asked. And then there's also a 30-day guarantee and a 90-day. It goes right up to a 90-day guarantee. So for example, with the skincare, if you were expecting certain results from a skincare product, it's not going to happen overnight. Like with the serum, that's an overtime, give it a few weeks to really start rejuvenating and getting into your skin. If after a month you're like, this has done nothing, what a waste of money, then just message me. But if you try something and the foundation or any of the colors are just not right for you at all, then you just let me know. And then there's a full exchange or money back guarantee. It's called a Love It guarantee.
Perfect. Yeah, because that's the big thing. I said a lot of times, and that's the beauty of coming to someone like yourself. Because I mean, with your experience, like you say, you can probably go, you're going to be a 025, whatever, right? Or
Yep.
the natural, the light, or whatever. Like you've done it enough.
Yeah.
But then also, like I said, sometimes it's just if I maybe, like I said, a lot of people are nervous from going from like a light coverage to a more heavy coverage, and then
Yeah.
you get it on and you're going, this just feels
This
too
isn't for me.
Or I think I'm willing to try it, but then you get it and you're just like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's nice to be able to kind of come back to you and say, can we do some tweaks and adjust? And I haven't spent, $60 on something that now is really kind of not useful.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, okay, probably what we'll do is we'll end this video, but maybe we'll do another little clip. And
Sure.
I know I've learned a lot. And that's the
Good. I'm
thing. I
glad.
think a lot of us, like I said, being an late 80s girl, I said, like, we were literally given, a bit of lip gloss and some basic tools with really no, because even our parents didn't really wear makeup the way that we do today.
The
So
lipstick. My mom never went anywhere without her lipstick.
we're lippy. I don't think my mother, I think we had to show my mother how to put eyeshadow on and stuff, like the basics. Even now we do her up for events and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But it's now kind of teaching you that less is more, and quality, quality versus quantity. Instead of having to go out and buy 16 different shades of something, stick to a basic palette.
Yeah.
Get some good quality things like the primer. So for me, what I've learned is I need good skincare, primer. I need the, the finishing powder piece.
Yes.
And also the concealer kind of, because I've been back and forth. I think I probably got, a mitt full of different color concealers that I was never knew really what to do. Should I be matching, not matching? And eventually I just said, I got to go with what my gut tells me, which is to match up.
Yes.
But I've thrown out more concealers, I think, in the last number of years, just not happy with getting the coverage and stuff. So that's what I've taken from. So, which is awesome. So if anybody's watching, we're going to connect to your Facebook page so people can actually reach out to you and, like I said, you do consultations. And the beauty with the pandemic is that you can still get makeup. And I know delivering and ordering and still taking orders and delivering, and getting stuff out to everyone. So you don't have to go makeup free. Some have, but it doesn't have to be because you can't get what you need. So that's
and
awesome.
The orders, people can order right from my website and have it directly shipped to them. What I do for anybody that's local, St. John's surrounding areas, is I do bulk orders. I'm putting orders in every couple of days, and then I am doing contactless deliveries to people just to keep it easy for them. So we can do a one-on-one, I can color match, place it with my orders so they don't have to pay any shipping, and then I just go hang it on their door. And
that's a quick question. So because normally you would do like a face-to-face thing, I would imagine, the contact piece. So how have you adjusted? So for example, if I called you today and said, okay, I want foundation, like how are you able to kind of continue?
So I can do a lot through pictures. I'll say, okay, well, the biggest thing with a foundation is take a picture in front of a window so you're in front of natural light so that I can see your neck and I can see your face with no makeup. Pretty much I'm like a almost 100% match. If I get good lighting, then I can color match you. But I've also been doing, which has been really fun, instead of doing one-on-one makeup sessions with people, is I'm doing this. So I'm doing a virtual session and I'm connecting with somebody, and then they've kind of received their products. whether it be an eyeshadow palette or, you know, their foundation or something. And I'm doing a one-on-one virtual tutorial with them, showing them exactly what they need to do, following through the steps. So it's been fun. It's been interesting.
I love that, because that's the thing too. It's like, it's no different, you know, you go get your hair cut and you're going, I really love the haircut, and you go home, you're going, there's no way this will ever look the same again.
Yes.
It's like, how did I recreate the products and all that? It's just like with makeup, like it's great to say, use this, this, and this, but that's the other, I guess, added piece of talking to someone like yourself, is that at any time if I'm going, I'm really struggling with this, or why is this creasing or doing whatever, that you're always kind of on Rotodial or a quick
Yep.
message or something to say, can you help me out with this, because I'm struggling big time. So it's not something
Exactly.
you're going to get right away. It's something you're going to work on, but
Yeah.
this is the best time to go and change your regime and practice your makeup piece before the craziness happens, because, or this all kind of goes back to normal. Because right now, even a lot of it, I know myself, I've been on video more in the last month and a half than I've ever done before. And I always hate a video, because as females, you're going, it shows every
I
little.
know. Yeah.
So it's nice to kind of figure out what to do to kind of, you know, feel more confident about yourself and stuff like that. And a lot of times it's
Yeah.
just very basic makeup. So
Exactly. Exactly.
anyway, thank you for kind of lending your expertise. Like I said, I
Oh, you're
read in and
welcome.
watch your videos all the time, and kind of, you know, I kind of look at you in envy, saying, okay, yeah, they're
Oh.
easy, but
Yeah.
it's intimidating sometimes to kind of say, yeah, send me all this stuff, and then you're like, I still don't really know what to do.
Still don't know what to do. I know.
Yeah, so I'm excited. So anyway, thanks for that. And I think
You're
we're gonna
welcome.
that. So I think we'll end here, and we'll do another little follow-up one, and we'll do a little bit of the eyeshadow and brows.
Perfect.
I know that's another big question. So
Yes.
thanks
Perfect.
for everybody who's
Bye.
tuning in. Hopefully we can do Facebook Live, but we will reconnect, and I'll tag you on it so people can kind of connect you directly if they have questions.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye.